in understanding the such type of questions and of whatever nature, of whatever details, of whatever tricks it comes. It will be very easy for you to attempt those questions. So let's carry on that momentum and keep practicing more number of questions, right? So let's start with another question. The question is, in a test, these have been already done. This question is already done. Yes, this was already done. Okay. Right. The question is, the total emoluments of two persons are the same. Of two persons are the same. We will be practicing the skills we have learned so far. We will try to see that how to use those skills. As skill is important, you are already getting too much knowledge from the various sources, but developing skills is something which is required, right? But one gets allowances, but one gets allowances to the extent of 65%, extent of 65% of his basic pay and other gets allowances to the extent of 80% of his basic pay. The ratio of the basic pay of the former to the basic pay of the latter. The ratio of the basic pay of former to the basic pay of later. This is the question. Now the skills we have learned so far, we will be looking for those skills which are very important, right? So let's read the questions and find out that statements which are available in the questions which needs interpretation. And the statements which needs interpretations, let's see what are their mathematical expressions, because we have to convert this written piece of statements into the mathematical expressions to find out the answer, right? Let's read the question. We have to develop this habit of reading the question very carefully and be conscious of the keywords which are there in the question. The total emoluments of two persons are the same. Two persons are the same, right? But one gets allowances to the extent of 65% of his basic pay, and other gets allowances to the extent of 80% of his basic pay. And the third statement is directly the demand of the question. The ratio of the basic pay. We must know that this is a fundamental emoluments is equal to basic pay plus allowances, right? This is the fundamental relationship. Many people might not be knowing this, or may be confused with words, maybe knowing in their own languages, that what is the final salary of an individual, that is basic pay plus allowances or many other benefits. So if you know this, it will be easy for you to identify the demand of the question. There are two persons, and the first statement is the condition that the emoluments of the two persons are the same. So if I take emoluments as E, so first person emolument is equal to emoluments of the second person. This is what we get from the first statement, and we have found the mathematical expression of the statement. Understanding the demand of the question, this is a skill part. I am emphasizing again and again so that you focus on this part and try to internalize this part. This is a skill part. To read the question and getting it converted into the mathematical expression. One skill is of reading, the second skill is of interpreting so that you can bring its mathematical expression, right? So first person gets allowances to the extent of 65% of his basic pay. So let the basic pay of, there are two persons, P1 and P2. There are two persons, right? Basic pay of P1 is B1 and of P2 is B2. And allowances is A1 and A2. So we have found that emoluments of the two person is equal. Now the relationship between basic pay and allowances is given. First person gets its allowances to the extent of 65% of his basic pay. So emoluments of first person is equal to basic pay plus 65% is allowances. So A1 is actually the 0.65, 65% of B1. 65% of B1. So this is nothing but, this can be written as B1 plus 0.65 B1. That comes out to be 1.65 B1. Similarly, I will see E2. Other gets, this is the first statement which is required interpretation, that is its mathematical expression. Second is this, and third is this. These three equations requires interpretation, thereby their mathematical expressions needs to be written down to solve the questions, right? Other gets allowances to the extent of 80% of his basic pay. So for second person, basic pay is B2 plus 80% of, so A2 is actually 80% of B2, and A1 is actually 65% of B1, right? So here we can write 80% of B2. So this can be written as B2 plus 0.8 B2, right? So this is 1.8 B2. So here we got the value of E1, we got the value of E2, and we know that E1 is equal to E2. So we will equate this value with this value. So from here we will see that E1 is equal to E2. E1 is actually 1.65. 1.65 B1 is equal to 1.8 B2, right? So we need B1 divided by B2. So B1 by B2 is equal to 1.8 divided by 1.65. So this is the ratio that comes out to be as the demand of the question. Is demand of the question. So this can be solved as 12 divided by 11. 12 divided by 11. So reading the statements and bringing their mathematical expressions is very important part of solving the CSET questions within the time frame. This is very important skill. You must focus on it. See how we use these statements to convert them into mathematical expressions. Right? But before that, you need to know that the emoluments is equal to basic pay plus allowance. That may be difficult for many students. That may not be difficult for many commerce background students or those who have studied economy to that extent. So that is easy question, can be done in 1 to 2 minutes, right? As you already can see that, right? Right? Let's do another question. Another question. Two numbers x and y. Two numbers x and y are respectively 20% and 28%. 20% and 28% less than a third number. A third number z. Z for zebra. X, Y and Z. Z for zebra. By what percentage is the number? By what percentage is the number Y? Number Y less than the number X. Question seems to be very difficult because the language used is complicated. The language used is very complicated. दिल्ली में बहुत ज़्यादा कोल्ड हो गया है, वेरी कोल्ड. बट पॉल्यूशन भी हो गया, पता नहीं पॉल्यूशन कहाँ जाके रुकेगा। लोग काफ़ी गुड़ खाते हैं जैगरी टू रिड्यूस दी बॉडी पॉल्यूशन, बट पता नहीं इस पॉल्यूशन में जैगरी काम करेगी कि नहीं करेगी, राइट। टू नंबर्स x and y z. There are three numbers x, y, z, and we know that there is a relationship between these two numbers, right? Right. Let's read the question as the skills we need. There are two numbers x, y respectively. 20% and 28% less than a third number z. This statement needs interpretation. This statement needs interpretation. Thereby, we need to express it in the mathematical expression. You have to be very careful while reading such statements because they might be seem confusing to many a people. Many a people, right? So, by what percentage is the number y less than the number x? By what percentage? So, this statement also needs interpretation. There are two statements, statement 1 and statement 2, and both requires a quiet interpretation, right? So, x is equal to 20% less than a third number z. 20% less than a third number z. So x is actually can be written as can be written as x is 20% less than z, लेस देन जेड। एक्स की जो वैल्यू है वो 20% जेड से कम है। अगर सपोज कीजिए एक्स इज इक्वल टू 100, तो अगर मैं इसमें जेड का 20%, हमें यहाँ पे रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा एक्चुअली। इफ जेड इज इक्वल टू 100, the 20% of z is equal to 20, so x will be actually 80. X will be actually 80. This is the relationship. This is the relationship. हमें यहाँ पे एक चीज़ को अज्यूम करना पड़ेगा, इंटरप्रिटेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड, कि हमें x की वैल्यू नहीं पता, y की वैल्यू नहीं पता, और x y को एक्सप्रेस किया गया है किसमें, z की टर्म्स में। अगर हम यहाँ पे देखें तो y भी जो है इट इज ऑल्सो एक्सप्रेस्ड एज y is 28% less than z. But the trick is this, we don't know what is the value of z. क्योंकि जब तक हम उसको एक नंबर में रिप्रेजेंट करेंगे इट विल बी कंफ्यूजिंग, कोई एक एग्जैक्ट फिगर नहीं मिलेगा। यू वॉन्ट बी गेटिंग अ सिंगल एग्जैक्ट फिगर कि जिसके रेफरेंस में आप x और y की वैल्यू निकाल सकते हैं कि z, if z is equal to 100, so we will say that x is 80 and y will be almost 72, but we don't know the x, the value of z. Either we assume it 100 or we assume it z to be x, z to be x. Now we know that x is 20% less than z. So if z is equal to x, और x x सेम हो जाएगा. Let it be another number. Let it be a. Let it be a. So x will be a minus 20% of a. So that will come out to be 80% of that is 20a 1 minus 120 80% of a, that is 0.8 a. So the value of x will be 0.8 a, right? Similarly, y can be calculated in terms of this. Y will be equal to a minus 28% of a. These are the mathematical expressions that we got from the first statement. Either you take z as 100 or you take as a. Fundamentally, if we do this, we will take a or any other value, and if you want to solve it with a reference of 100, that is also okay, right? So y will come out to be 72% of a. So that comes out to be 0.72 a. So this is the figure what we got. This is actually the value of x and y. Why do we need to calculate the value of x and y? This is, let it be equation 1 and it be equation 2. Because the second statement says that by what percentage is the number y less than the number x, and you just see that कि इसको रिवर्स में डाला है. यूजुअली व्हाट वी डू, x को हम आगे रखते हैं, y को पीछे रखते हैं. बाय व्हाट नंबर द y इज लेस देन द नंबर x. सो x पहले आता है, y आता है. थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजिंग है. सो हमें ही बता रहे हैं कि y x जो है y से कितना ज़्यादा है या फिर y x से कितना कम है, राइट? अगर हम इस स्टेटमेंट को इंटरप्रेट करें, सो ये क्या बोलती है कि x इज हाउ मच मोर देन y. ये भी है द सेम स्टेटमेंट. और y इज हाउ मच less than x. Both statements are true. Both interpretations are true. And such interpretations will help you in deciphering the question. And it will help you in solving the question very fast. Right? So, we will do, so what it means, x minus y. All in all, it means x minus y. So, that comes out to be 0.8 a minus 0.72 a, right? So this is 0.8 a, 0.72 a. So now it will come out to be 0.08 a. So we know that 0.08 a, it can be written as 8% of a, and a is equal to z. So this is the value, this is the difference in x minus y. X is more than y by this, but by what percentage is the number y less than the number x? So you have to calculate the percentage. So you will divide x minus y divided by the total a. y. So basically x minus y, we took the a as the value of z. So from here only you can also see that the x is greater than y by 8%. And we know that x is also mentioned referenced in the 8. X is also mentioned by the help of z. Y is also having some value in terms of z. I haven't taken it as a number 100, but I took it, the value of z as a. So x is greater x is the value of x is that x is less than 20% of z. Y is less than 20% of z. So here x is greater than y by the value of 8% of a. By the 8% of a. So we need to calculate that by what percentage is y is more than x is more than y. So x minus y divided by x into 100. So that is what we require. So we will divide this number. We will divide x minus y, which comes out to be 0.08a by 0.8a. So we need less space. We need more space. This is already occupied, right? Right. So here we, according to this statement, we need x minus y divided by x, because we have to give the percentage in terms of x, because we are calculating that how much x is more than y. So we are calculating percentage in terms of x. If it is said that how much is x is less than or more than y, then it would have been divided by y, right? So x minus y is equal to 0.08a. That is 0.08a will be divided by the value of x, that is 0.8a. So 1 decimal से 1 decimal गया, right? 8 से 8 गया, right? A से A चला गया, right? So this comes out to be 0.1. That is almost 10%. If you will multiply 0.1 into 100, so that comes out to be 10%, right? That comes out to be 10%. The two important skills in this question. First, you are able to mention its mathematical expression, and second is that you are able to identify the demand of the question. The demand of the question is this. Many students would leave the answer as 8%, because if you calculate that how much x is more than y, or how much y is less than in percentage, because percentage comes in reference. The concept of percentage is always in reference. The concept of percentage is always done in reference. So here we have no reference, exact value. The value is given because we assumed a, the value of z is a. So this is the exact value, but there is no such reference as of now. Here we are calculating that x is more than y or y is less than Y is how much percentage less than. So when we talk about percentage, we talk about the reference. So in terms of what? So in terms of X, it is less than. So here the question itself says that by what percentage is the number of Y less than the number X. So here we are talking about that reference is X. So that is why we divided X minus Y by the X. Here the reference is X. Please be conscious or be mindful of this relationship, because we have to calculate that Y is how much percentage less than in reference to X. That is why we divided X minus Y by X. अगर हम ये बोलते कि how much X is more than the Y, तो reference हो जाता Y. How much X is less than Y, so X हो जाता, Y हो जाता आपका reference, right? This is the interpretation that is required. Let's do another question. If there is a policy that one third of a population of a community has migrated of a community has migrated every year from one place to some other place. One place to some other place. What is the leftover population of that community after the 6th year? If there is no further growth, no further growth in the population during this period, what is the question starts from here, right? That is question mark. So first we will try to read the question. We will try to find the which statements in the questions requires interpretation, and then what we will do, we will try to bring their mathematical expressions, right? So we have to use those skills. If we are not unable to use those skills, it means that we are unable to develop these skills, right? If there is a policy that 1/3 of a population of a community has migrated every year, from one place to 1/3 of a population, 1/3 of a population. We are talking about some part of a population. There is a population, there is a community, in that community there is a population, and 1/3 population is migrating. And if there is a policy, and this is actually, we are talking about a rule, a condition. If there is a rule, then according to that rule, the situation has been explained in the question. And if that rule is applied, what will be its outcome? Let's try to just bring it psychological understanding that where we are heading. It is a rule, a condition, a policy. A policy is basically a do's and don'ts, what you can do and what you cannot do, what you will do, right? So there is a 1/3 of a population of a community has migrated every year. Every year, we are talking about every year, from one place to some other place. So this statement is to be interpreted. Every year there is a phenomena that 1/3 population is migrating. This is the policy. एक place से दूसरे place पे चली जाती है. Every year. So अगर X है, so first year में अगर वो every year, first year में first year, the 1 represents first year. X minus 1/3x, that is 2/3x. तो ये population रहेगी. Second year में अब इसका 1/3 हो जाएगा 2/3x minus 1/3 is equal to 2/3x. So it comes out to be 2/3x is common, that is 2/3 का square x. So basically we are seeing it is raised to the power 2. So third year it will be 2/3 का cube x, so on. It goes on. The figure is like this. So you are getting a mathematical expression and mathematical understanding that every year 1/3 population is migrating. But in this migration, there is a condition that is hidden in the next statement from here. What is the leftover population? This is the leftover population. Every year 1/3 is migrated. So this is the leftover population. So leftover population has a mathematical expression. This is first year mathematical expression of first year leftover population. Second year 2/3 का square x. Third year 2/3 cube x. Fourth year similarly for 6 years, right? So the figure is like this. This will goes on. Now let's see that in this migration, what condition has been put. What is the leftover population of that community after the 6th year? If there is no further growth in the population during this period. So basically, the simple question, it became now a simple question because we have to calculate that what is the leftover population in the 6th year. So we can easily say it is 2/3 की power 6x. This is the leftover population. Leftover population. X represents the total population initially. Now after 6 year, it is 2/3 की power 6. Because, and you also assume that there is another statement. This is the demand of the question, and also with one condition. The one condition is that during this period, no growth in population. X is same. So population में कोई growth हुआ ही नहीं है. No further growth in populations. So by calculating this figure, you will get your answer easily. So this is just a reading of the question and finding its mathematical expression. That's it. I hope that this is not that much difficult. If we break down the question in statements and getting their mathematical expressions. These are the two important skills which are very important for solving CSET questions very easily. But fundamentals needs to be very strong. You need to have very strong fundamentals. That is very much required from your part, that you do practice a lot of questions, you inculcate the fundamentals and solve the questions fundamentally when you are practicing, where you are under preparation. When you will be sitting in the exam, you will see that automatically the tricks are coming to you. That I have solved these questions and this is how I should proceed. And that comes only when you have these two skills, reading the questions statement by statement and getting their mathematical expressions, right? That is very important, easy part. Very easy part. Government of India is working on developing skills. हमारे पास knowledge बहुत है. We have lot of knowledge. We have lot of traditional knowledge. We have lot of modern knowledge. Western philosophies, Indian philosophies. Knowledge is knowledge. But what to do with the knowledge? Mahatma Gandhi ji also focused on that you should work on developing the skills. You should work on developing the skills. Skills is the medium. Is the medium between your knowledge and your success. अगर आप knowledge gain करते रहे, ये notes पढ़ लिया, वो notes पढ़ लिया, ये बना लिया, वो बना लिया, अगर उसमें आपने उस knowledge को use करने की, उससे related skills develop नहीं किए, so it is of no use. Socrates said, Socrates, हिंदी में सुकरात बोलते हैं, इंग्लिश में Socrates बोलते हैं. The wisdom and knowledge is in self-awareness. Your self-awareness is that you should, you should know that whether you have skills or not. You must increase your self-awareness. If you see that you have skills, if you don't have skills, you will inculcate those skills. That will lead to the good action. This is what we do in ethics. This is also applicable in the CSET as well. This is the underlying philosophy. This is the methodology, the inquiry method which was given by the Socrates to, to improve your understanding about the truth. And the truth is here logic. You must find the logic in every question. That is hidden in the statements. Statement by statement, the logic is hidden. You must find out the logics in those statements, and you finding the logics, you finding the truth. You are finding the truth, it means that you are following the inquiry method which was given by the Socrates. Thereby your actions will be ethical, that is, will be leading to the exact answer. That will be leading to the correct answer. That will be leading to the correct answer. Right? So this expression can be solved to 2 to the power 6 is almost 2 to the power 2 multiplied 2 to the power 2 multiplied by 2 to the power 2. That is 4 into 4 into 4. That is 64. 3, 6, 3 square, 3 square, 3 square. That is 9 into 9 into 9. that is almost 729, right? So 64 by 729 of 64 by 729 of the original population is the leftover population. Is the leftover population, right? Let me just give you a brief of some fundamentals of mathematics, where you have such raised to the power. So how to understand them? See, if a into a, it means a, when a is written as a, so it means that it has one power. This is called raised to the power. It is also have 1 a ki power 1. When this base number, that is a, is same, so what we will do, we will write it only once and we will add the raised to the powers 1 plus 1. That comes out a raised to the power 2. A raised to the power 2. Right? If there are two numbers, a ki power 2 and b ki power 2, so base number is now different. So what we will do, we will write a into b, because we are writing this because they both have the same powers. So what we will do, we will multiply both numbers and combinedly set that it is raised to the power 2. Right? Square root of a multiplied by square root of b. This can also be written as a into b whole square root, right? Because this value is actually a raised to the power 1 by 2. This square root represents 1 by 2 multiplied by b raised to the power 1 by 2, right? So both have similar powers as was in the case. So what we do, we will multiply both the numbers and combinedly set raised to the power, right? So when you have same powers, so you can multiply both numbers. So in general rule, if a raised to the power n multiply by b raised to the power n, so both numbers can be multiplied, a into b, and combinedly said as raised to the power n, when both has same power, when base number is different. Similarly, if base number is same, both represent a, so we will write only once and we will add the above powers n plus n. So that comes out to be a to n, right? And when there is nothing mentioned, we will always take 1. When you have a raised to the power 0, a can be any number if it has 0 as its power. So it will be always be 1. It will always be of 1, right? Right. Another basic identity is, suppose a is mentioned as 3 by 2. It has raised to the power 3 by 2. So we can write it as a ki power 3 multiplied by 1 by 2. And we know that 1 by 2 is square root. So we can also write it as square root of a ki power 3. Right? So we have we have, this is one identity, right? This is another, right? This is one, this is one, this is one, this is one, this is one. These are the types. So this can also be written as, it can also be written as, in general terms, a raised to the power n. So it can also be written as n a, the whole power is m, right? When we say root a is equal to a ki power 1 by 2, when we say 3, when the number changes, if it is not mentioned, it is always 2, it is assumed to be 2. When it is mentioned, it is equal to, so you will write is a ki power 1 by 3. When it is 4a, so it means a ki power 1 by 4. When a 5, it means a ki power 1 by 5. So it will goes on. So please keep in mind, I thought that I should give you a brief of it, because such representation expressions are there. So it will be easy for you to understand them, right? So this is what you are supposed to read it, right? You need to carry this in mind. This will help you in solving the questions very fast, right? Let's move on to the next question. That will be another challenge. Let's write the question. I'm writing these questions because I want you to focus on developing these skills of reading. Otherwise, I would have make a slide of it and just write it just like any other person is doing. I don't want you to do that. I just want you to that you write the question so that you develop the skills of reading it and bringing its mathematical expression. If you are not, first read the question carefully, pinpoint the keywords, and then interpret the question. That is another skill, and then bring its mathematical expression. That is yet another skill. If you done this, so most of the question is like that. You already have seen it, right? Let's write another questions. In a city, 12% of households 12% of households earn less than rupees 30,000 per year. 30,000 per year. 6% households 6% households 6% households earn more than 2 lakh rupees 2 lakhs per year, right? 22% households 22% households 22% households earn more than rupees 1 lakh. per year, and 990 households earn between rupees 30,000, rupees 30,000 and rupees 1 lakh per year. One lakh per year. How many households? How many households earn between rupees 1 lakh and rupees 2 lakh per year, and rupees 2 lakh per year? Question mark. The question seems to be very lengthy, very complex, very complicated. A lot of data is mentioned. A question is like a paragraph, right? But what we do, we will find these statements, we will read the question carefully, find the keywords, we will see the conditions mentioned in the question, we will find which statements need to be interpreted, and then we will try to see that how their mathematical expressions are. We have to convert their mathematical expressions. We have to convert these statements into mathematical expressions, then only we can see that what is the actually question. So by first reading the question and just go through that and develop a psychological understanding of it, that what exactly the question is talking about, right? So in a city, let's read the question. In a city, 12% of households, so there is a city, there are households. So basically, the people have been categorized in terms of income. This is by just first statement, by first line. In this paragraph, which I have written on the blackboard, by reading this first paragraph, I have developed this psychological understanding that the question is about the people are categorized, households, not the people, households. The households are categorized on the basis of income. That how much they are earning in a year. If I have this psychological understanding, reading of this paragraph becomes easy as we do in reading comprehension. If we have some pre-information, if we are able to judge the paragraph just by going through the theme of the paragraph, we see that what actually the paragraph is about. So this is the same skill of reading comprehension we will be using here. By just reading the first statement, so in CSET questions, mathematics questions, understanding or developing the understanding that what exactly is happening in the question. So it will be easy for us to find these statements which needs interpretations, and easily we can convert those statements into mathematical expressions. That's obvious. That's obvious. Right? So there are certain households earning less than rupees 30,000 per year. There are households earn more than rupees 2 lakh per year. There are households earning more than rupees 1 lakh. 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 30,000. So this is the first figure mentioned. this paragraph, understanding of this paragraph, by just understanding, developing this understanding, we actually condensed it, that what exactly happening. So we can see that the same thing is being repeated. It is nothing but categorizing the households. And there are exactly 9. Here the percentage is given. There are percentages and there are the exact number of houses. Earn between 30,000 to 1 lakh per year. The first thing is that the income is per year. Household's income is divided for a year, not for a month, not for a day, not for many years, only a year, only 1 year. That is what is, right? So how many households? And I'm solving this question, trying to solve these questions, trying to develop this perspective as I'm a student, so that you can also see that how a student should go by. I'm a role model for you. You should follow that, how the student should go by, how the student should attempt this question. This is what is expected from you, that you copy this method of understanding the demand of the questions and then solving it, right? Households earn between rupees 1 lakh to rupees 2 lakh per year. Question is like a paragraph, but we understood it by just developing this understanding that the households are categorized in a city on the basis of the income they are earning for a year. Now let's get its mathematical expressions. So 12% households earn less than rupees 30,000, less than 30,000, sorry, less than 30,000, right? This mathematical expression is used to show that the income is less than. The income is, let represent it that income is less than 30. So we have a figure, we can also mention it on a timeline, we will use it later. 6% households having income more than 2 lakh, more than 2 lakh per year, and 22% households earn more than rupees 1 lakh per year. There are 22% having income earning more than 1 lakh per year, right? And exactly 990 households having income between, so their income is between 30,000 to 1 lakh. It is less than 1 lakh and greater than 30,000. This is the expression. Right? Right? This is the mathematical expression up to here. So we have converted this into mathematical expressions. Now we do not need to read this again and again. Right? Let's understand the question. How many households earn between 1 lakh and 2 lakh per year? So we have to find out the households numbers, who is having income greater than 1 lakh and less than 2 lakh, right? So we know that this figure, this represents that a 22% households are those who's having income more than 1 lakh. So we have 22% of households who is having income more than lakh. This is what we require. Those households whose income is, we have to calculate the how many households. So there are 22% households who is having income greater than 1 lakh. But in this figure, we will also have those households whose income is about 2 lakh, because it gives minimum threshold. It gives minimum threshold but not the maximum. कि इसकी फाइनल लिमिट क्या है भाई? जो 1 लाख रुपया कमा रहे हैं, जो घर 1 लाख रुपया कमा रहे हैं, वो टोटल है 22% हाउस होल्ड्स. बट इसमें वो भी हैं जो 2 लाख भी कमा रहे हैं, क्योंकि अपर लिमिट नहीं दी है, नीचे की लिमिट आपको दी गई है, राइट? सो यहां से हमें ये पता चल गया कि वो हाउस होल्ड्स कितने हैं जिनकी टोटल इनकम 1 लाख से ज्यादा है. अब हमें क्या चाहिए? 2 लाख से कम. अब हम इसमें से माइनस कर देंगे वो वाले हाउस होल्ड्स जिनकी इनकम 2 लाख से ज्यादा है, जिनकी इनकम 2 लाख से ज्यादा है, राइट? सो कौन से हैं वो? 2 लाख. जो 2 लाख से ज्यादा है वो वाले हम माइनस कर देते हैं. एग्जैक्टली 6%. एग्जैक्टली 6%. बट ये माइनस करना यहां पे we need exact figure. We know that there are houses जिनकी इनकम 30,000 से ज्यादा है और 1 लाख से कम है. 30,000 से ज्यादा है और 1 लाख से कम है. राइट? सो वी नीड एग्जैक्ट फिगर. यहां पे हमें डिफरेंस तो पता चल गया, बट वी नीड एग्जैक्ट फिगर. कि यहां पे एग्जैक्ट फिगर आप कैसे निकालेंगे, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. यही है क्वेश्चन का जो ट्विस्ट है, वो आपको यहां पर लेकर आएगा. मान लीजिए टोटल हाउस होल्ड्स कितने हैं? टोटल हाउस होल्ड्स कितने हैं? टोटल मान लीजिए x. टोटल इज x. अब जो 1 लाख से ज्यादा है वो है 22% ऑफ x. सो दिस इज एक्चुअली 22% ऑफ x माइनस 6% ऑफ x. ये आपको कैलकुलेट करना है. अब आपको चाहिए कि टोटल हाउस होल्ड्स यहाँ पे कितने हैं, वो कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा. यहाँ से आपको क्वेश्चन की डिमांड समझ में आ गई. अब आपको यहाँ से टोटल नंबर ऑफ हाउसेस कैलकुलेट करने हैं. टोटल नंबर ऑफ हाउसेस कैलकुलेट करने हैं, राइट? प्लीज़ क्वेश्चन को समझिए और रीड कीजिए. थोड़ा सा टाइम दीजिए और फोकस करने की कोशिश कीजिए कि अब आपको x कैसे मिलेगा. हाउ विल यू कैलकुलेट द x? How will you calculate the x? 22% above 1 lakh. Earn between 1 lakh and 2 lakh per year. तो आपको पता होने चाहिए कि 2 लाख कमाने वाले कितने हैं और 1 लाख कमाने वाले कितने हैं. माइनस ये ऐसे भी हो सकता है कि आपका 6% ज़्यादा हो. नेगेटिव को इग्नोर कीजिए, वो एब्सोल्यूट हमें निकालना है, राइट. So you need to find out the exact number of households here. Try to find that what data you are available with. It seems the question is easy, but it is not that much easy, right? So we are solving questions in a way that you can understand that where you will get difficulty. So overcoming the difficulty requires an effort intelligence, right? You need to find out that what is the value of X. So maybe people earning 2 lakh are more, and people earning more than 1 lakh are less. So here we have, sorry, the income is greater than 2 lakh. हमने यहाँ पे गलत किया ये. This is wrong. This is wrong. 6% is people having income more than 2 lakh. बट हमें वो चाहिए जो लेस देन 2 लाख हो और ग्रेटर देन 1 लाख हो. क्या हमें पता चल रहा है यहाँ पे कितने लोग हैं जो ग्रेटर देन 2 लैक्स हैं, क्या लेस देन 2 लैक्स हैं, हमें पता चल रहा है. हमें इस क्वेश्चन में ये यहाँ से जो डेटा मिला है उसमें हमें ये नहीं पता चल रहा है कि यहाँ पे कितने लोग हैं जो लेस देन 2 लैक्स हैं. So people having income more than 1 lakh are 22%. उसमें 2 लाख भी आ जाएंगे, तो 2 लाख से ज़्यादा वाले हैं वो हम माइनस कर देंगे, तो वो सही था, राइट. दैट वाज करेक्ट. इसमें 22% वो हैं जो 1 लाख से ज़्यादा हैं, दैट इज़ 22%, राइट. और माइनस इसमें से 1 लाख में इसमें वो भी आ जाएंगे, इसमें वो भी हाउस होल्ड्स हैं जिनकी इनकम 1 लाख से ज़्यादा है, चाहे वो कोई भी फिगर हो, बट उसमें हम वो माइनस कर देंगे जो 2 लाख से ऊपर हैं. सो इट वाज 6% ऑफ हाउस होल्ड्स ऑफ एक्स. दैट वाज करेक्ट, दैट वाज करेक्ट. दिस इज द फिगर वी नीड. दिस इज द डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन दैट वी नीड टू सॉल्व इट. Now we need to calculate that what is the value of x. So how we will calculate total people, right? So we know that there are 990 households. Those households earning more than 30,000 and earning less than 1 lakh. So that percentage, what is that percentage? If we are able to calculate that, what is this percentage, we will be able to calculate that what is the value of x. How? That is the trick. That is what we have to see that. Now we know that 990 is the number equal to what percentage of x. From here we will calculate the value of x. Once the value of x is calculated, we will put the value of x here and here. Then we will be able to calculate the number of households which have income per year between 1 lakh to 2 lakh. Right? So let's calculate this. What is the percentage of X? So here people earning more than 1 lakh, this is 22%. That is 22%. Right? People earning above 2 lakhs is this. So here we need those people whose income is greater than 30,000, and this is the less than 30,000. This is we will minus. So when we calculating this, we know that the total households are 100%. We will minus, if we have to equate that what percentage of total household is equal to 990. We need to subtract, we need to bring the percentage by looking at the income. So what we will do, we will take 100, the complete percentage, and we will minus those households which are having income less than 30,000. That is here 12%. So minus 12%. We need to bring this figure into percentage in terms of total households. This is the value given to you. The hidden logic is here that from this you have to calculate the total number of households, and that will be used here in this equation, which is the demand of the question. This is the demand of the question. This figure will give you the total number of households. Right? So in this equation, 990 equals to, we know that 990 is equal to what percentage of X? We need to calculate this. If we are able to calculate this percentage, we will be able to find out that what is the value of X. So 990 is equal to 100% minus 12%. Now we have subtracted those households which are having income less than 30,000, because we are required only income which is greater than 30,000. Now we have to subtract those households which are having income less than 1 lakh. So we have to subtract all those households which are having income above 1 lakh. Now you see that these are the people who are having income above 2 lakhs, right? And these are the people who are having income above 1 lakh. So this percentage of households is also included in it. Also included in it. So what you will do, you will, by subtracting, see these two figures, the second figure also includes the households who are having income 2 lakhs. This can be written as that people having income above 1 lakh and people having income above 2 lakhs is also there. So people having income above 1 lakh also includes these households. So here logic is that, the logic is here that people having income above 2 lakhs. Here these households also include these households who are having income above 2 lakh. And these households also include these households. Let me elaborate it you again. Right? See, these are the four equations. This equation gives us the we will help us to identify the total number of households, right? These two equations, the 22% of households having income greater than 1 lakh, it also includes, this figure also includes households above 2 lakhs. This also includes, this figure also includes. Now we need to subtract those households, which are above 1 lakh. So what we will do, we will subtract only this value from 100%. We know that 990 is equal to how much percentage of x? We know that if we get this percentage, so we will get this percentage by subtracting it from 100 minus 12%. Those households which having less than 30,000, because we are required those households we are having income above 30,000. So minus 12% minus all those households having income above 1 lakh, because we are required only those households having less than 1 lakh. That is 22% of x. So 12 is equal to 343. 100 minus 34 percentage of x. That's come out to be 66% of x, right? So this is equal to 990. Now from here we can easily calculate. So these are the percentage of the households, that is equal to 990, who is having income above 30,000 and less than 1 lakh. So every statement, I already told you that every statement requires to be interpreted. So we found that these are the mathematical expressions. Now you see that they needs to be interpreted to find out the demand of the question, that is this number. And this number can only be calculated when we know the value of x. From this equations we can calculate the number of x. So 990 is equal to 0.66600x. So x come out to be 990 multiplied by 100 divided by 66. 11 6 are 6, 11 9, 90. So it comes out to be 9,000 divided by 6. So we will divide it further, 13500. Total number of households in that city are 1500. Total number of households in that city are 1500. Now we can calculate that how many households earn between 1 lakh to 2 lakh. That is 22% of 1500 minus 6% of 1500. Right? This is exactly the 16. Now you will take common 1500 common, 22%, 1500, that is 22 minus 6 percentage, that is 1500 multiplied by 16%, that is 1500 multiplied by 16 divided by 100. Cancel out ho gaya. So it is ultimately 15 into 16. That is the required number of households who are having income between 1 lakh to 2 lakh per year. I would have solved it in less than 2 minutes. 2 minutes are required, 2 to 3 minutes. That is a genuine time, or maybe 4 minutes. But I'm solving it fundamentally so that you can understand it, that how the concepts are used. Interpretation of these statements, at what stages you will find difficulty in solving the questions, right? So we will multiply 15, 16. 240 households, the exact number. The 240 households is the exact number who are earning between 1 lakh to 2 lakh per year. Right? They are the numbers who are earning 1 lakh to 2 lakh. This is what you have to, how you have to solve the questions. As you already see that we have practiced number of questions, and we found that reading of the question becomes very significant. If you are not developing the skill of reading, so it will be very difficult for you to qualify the CSET exam. Right? Let's see another question. Let me recap it for you. There is a city. In that city, the households are divided on the basis of income they are earning. There are few exact number of houses and their income is defined. So these houses, these are the mathematical expressions of this paragraph. This is what we require to calculate. From this is what we require to calculate, and for that we need the value of x, that is total number of households. So from this information, we should use it in a way that we are able to calculate that how many total households are there. First, we read these statements and wrote their mathematical expressions, and then we found this is the demand of the question. And in that demand, we understood that we need to calculate total number of households. That can only be calculated by the expressions or the information given in the questions. So use that information to calculate the total number of households. And after that, putting that value into it, you will get the exact number, that how many households are there who are having income between 1 lakh to 2 lakh per year. That's it. Right? Let's practice another question. P equal to 40% of A plus 65% of B. 65% of B. And Q equals to 50% of A plus 50% of B. Let's put them in bracket. This is how it was represented by the UPSC. Q equals to is this, where A is greater than B, greater than B. In this context, which of the following statements is correct? Is correct. Statement 1. P is greater than Q. P is greater than Q. is greater than P. P is equal to Q. None of the above can be concluded with certainty. Concluded with certainty. Right? By reading this question, I can infer one thing. I can interpret one thing. You have these options because there is a statement A is greater than B. A is greater than B. So it means that PU and Q will be in terms of A and B. So we have to find out that what is the relationship between P and Q in terms of A and B by putting this value that A is greater than B. So there is a fact, there is a statement given in the question. You have to come to this conclusion by keeping in mind that A is greater than B. This is the link. This is the bridge between your mathematical expression and the correct statement. You have to calculate this, simplify this equation, and by keeping in mind that A is greater than B, then you have to decide that which of the option can be concluded. So this is basically a conclusion. You have to come to a conclusion, but that conclusion must be based on the logics. If it is away from the logic, you will not get the correct answer, right? You will not get the correct answer. You will not get the correct answer. Right? So let's first simplify the statement. P is equal to 0.4 A. 40% of A can be written as 0.4 A plus 0.65 of B, right? Q can be written as 0.5 A plus 0.5 B, right? Now what we do, we have two variables. We have two variables. If we can remove one variable from it, we will be able to come with single variable. Let's first add P plus Q. That comes out to be 0.9 A plus 1.15 B. This is the relationship between P and Q if we add it, right? If we subtract it, Q minus P, that is 0.1 A minus 0.15 B. This is another equation. Now see, can we make a conclusion here? Can we find this? Now we see that P is greater than Q. Can we say that P is greater than Q? You have three variables. You need to reduce the variables so that you can come out with the relationship between P and Q. If you have two variables here and A is greater than B, Suppose if we keep A is greater than B, assume it to be as it is given in the statement, can we infer that P is greater than Q? Can we infer that? Can we write this statement as P equal to 0.9 A plus 1.15 B minus Q? So from here it is obvious that A is greater than B, but A can be a negative value, a B can be negative value. Minus 1 is greater than minus 2. If we put minus 1, minus 2 and minus minus, right? So can we say that P is greater than Q? We will not be into conclusion. If we keep it minus 1, minus 2 as it is, A is greater than B, so it will be some value in minus Q equals to P. So it means that if we add P plus Q is equal to something negative, so can we say that which value is more negative? Either P is negative or Q is negative. Either P is minus 5 or minus 6 or minus 7, or Q is minus 3 or maybe 2 or maybe 3, maybe 1. In all the cases, we will be getting some negative value as outcome, right? So there is a case possibilities. We have testified this. We are testing the limits. In such questions, limits are tested. Here the limit is given that A is greater than B. This is the limit. We must not violate this condition. We must not violate this limit. This is a condition. This is a limit. You have to test your all the options against such limits. We 100% surely cannot say that P is greater than Q or K is greater than P or P is equal to Q. It can also possible, but with no certainty, with no surety. 100% no. These are the assumptions if we take such values. But what are the values of A and B? We don't know, because P and Q's are mentioned in the values. Right? I think there is some problem. So we know that the value of A and B is not given to us. So any value can be there, any possibility is there. So we cannot say that what exactly with 100% certainty that these possible options are there, these possible conclusions are there. The correct answer is that none of the above can be concluded with certainty. There is always assumption. There is always assumption into it. Right. We have to assume it certain facts, and then we can say that this is true. Otherwise, it is not true. Right. So these are the questions for today's that we did practice. I hope that you are enjoying my classes, and similarly we'll do all the concepts and all the questions will be practiced. So keep practicing all the questions. I'm assigning you assignments that will be really helpful for you. Thank you.